Hello there, my name is Yemah and welcome to my channel. Thank you very much for being here, and if this is your first time, God bless you. I appreciate you. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe. I really appreciate it because I'm struggling right now. Today's video is going to be very short. Hopefully it could be very short because I intend to not talk too much this time. This is going to be a catch-up video on some of the things I've been doing the last 2 months that I haven't posted a long video of me actually talking. I have made some videos about my trip to Australia, which I will, briefly mention, and then I have some shorts here and there. So please make sure to check those out if you have a minute. Also, make sure you follow me on my social media, which would be my Instagram, TikTok. I actually am more personable on TikTok, so I think if you want to get to know me more, then TikTok is probably the best bet for you. Also, I made a Pinterest. I don't really know what I'm doing yet on Pinterest, but I would say it is something I'm getting used to, and it's allowing me to play around with designs or just figure stuff out for now. So check that out as well if you want to see, some of the things that I'm doing. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get started. So the last 2 months, like August and September is almost over. By the time this video comes out, it will probably be November. So for the last 2 months, I've been doing nothing substantial, right? But little stuff here and there. So as I mentioned, I have a video on my page maybe 2 videos ago, and it's a long vlog of my travel to Australia. So I finally went to Australia, something I've been meaning to do for, oh my gosh, like 4 years or something like that. I was slightly disappointed because I was going there to also see a friend of mine that just didn't work out. So that was a bit disappointing, but hey, it is what it is. So the video that I have, it's a long video because my travel time was like 30 something hours, I believe, and it was very, very stressful. My layovers in the Philippines, I can say it was the best layover. Honestly, when I think of the Philippines, I had so much positive thoughts but transiting there was not great. My experience was not it. It was very disappointing. I felt, maybe I'll make another video expressing my feelings. Let me just say that. So yeah, please check out that vlog. It's no, I think it's like 10 or 15 minutes, and it's just like a clips here and there, but check it out and give it a like. So places that I went to in Australia. So I started my journey in Sydney, of course, because that's the first place you have to go. So I went to Sydney. I stayed in the Airbnb / hotel. And I need to also make a separate video about Airbnbs and hostels and hotels. Definitely a difference and plays a lot into your expenses depending on where you travel. So I stayed in this Airbnb that was kind of like a hotel, but it still had some freedom of a hostel. And it was very personable as well in Sydney. It was close to a university area, so I could get to feel the life of Sydney. And then when I go back to my hotel, it would just be a little bit quiet, kind of the way how I like to spend my time. So it was a perfect location for me. I went to the Contemporary Art Museum. I gotta say, I was a little bit disappointed. The art was nice. I also have some pictures on my Instagram that shows the art from there. But I just felt like there should have been more. There wasn't a lot more than I expected. It was cool, but I just wanted to see more. And if you didn't know, the Contemporary Art Museum is across the river from the Sydney Opera House. So I saw it. I didn't go there because there was so many people there, and I went in August. So that's like the winter time for Australia. So it was a little bit windy and a little bit cold. And I just didn't feel like being around a bunch of people. But I saw it, so that was cool because it's one of the most famous landmarks in the world. So it was cool for me to see it. But the main reason why I was there was to go to the Contemporary Art Museum, and I went there and I enjoyed it. I wish it would have been better, but it was still pretty cool. Some nice things there. One piece that I really liked, well, 2 pieces. One was a piece of like the earth or something. It was made with metals. I thought that was really cool. And there was another one that looked like the Naruto, like the Leaf Village symbol. was in Sydney for maybe 4 days, I believe. And then I took a train from Sydney to Melbourne. Now, I should have taken the train in the day. I took it at night, so there really wasn't a lot of land to see. It was a very long train ride, maybe 8 hours, no, 6 8 hours. I slept through a lot of it, but there were food on the train. It was very comfortable. It was spacious. It wasn't too crowded either, so you could have a seat by yourself at times, or when the train started moving, you could move to a different seat, and if they made a stop and someone had to sit, and you could move. So it was very flexible. And then I was in Melbourne for, I think it's the amount of time, 4 or 5 days, maybe six, and I had a blast there. To me, Melbourne is a lot more entertaining than Sydney, in my opinion. Sydney is more well known, as some of us might know, but as a person who loves art and museums, I found Melbourne to be better for me. I went to a lot of museums that took a bunch of pictures that I hope I will put on Pinterest eventually. Um, and just walking around the city was pretty cool. It was very nice. The layout of the land, as they would say, was rich. I felt like I was learning subconsciously things, or they just and it also gave me a San Francisco vibe. I think it was because of the tram. It did. So did Sydney, but I think Melbourne did more. And then one of the things I will highlight, though, one of my best parts of this, and I have also made a video about that, I believe, is I went to the aquarium, Sea Life, Melbourne. It was beautiful. I was by myself, of course, because it is a solo trip, and I had a great time. I liked the animals, and it was, and they had this little thing where you get your picture taken before you go into the museum, and if you, by the end of the museum, tour or seeing, you can look at the picture, and if you like it, you can buy it, which I did. So I think that's a great investment for someone who's traveling. That's a great way to like remember a good souvenir for the place. And then I also went on a wine tasting. I have the information down. I'll put the information down in the bottom of this video, so you can check that out if you ever go to Australia. You can take a tour of that. I thought the price was pretty affordable. You get to go to the one that I chose. I think we went to 4 wineries and 1 chocolate factory. The chocolate factory was nice if you like all types of chocolates. It's a great, you get to do a lot of tasting of the chocolates, and then you get to buy, of course, just how they also do at the winery. The places that we went, though, the wines were very dry, as the wine connoisseurs would say. I like my wine a little bit sweet, not sugary, because I don't like sugary drinks, but a little bit sweet would be nice. But it was not too sweet. It wasn't sweet at all. Most of them were not sweet, but it was so nice. If you like wines, you will definitely like it. If you like stronger wines, definitely for you. Or if you just want to take a drive outside of the city, which is what we do. We get on this bus and we take a drive outside of the city for like maybe an hour and get to see nature. And we also saw some kangaroos. So that was like, I'm like, yeah, go to Australia and see kangaroos. Check. So those are 2 things I really liked for amongst all the things that I did, which to me, again, Melbourne was a better experience than Sydney. What I hated about it, though, and I think maybe it was more of my Asian mind or my Thailand and Taiwanese mind kicking in, like using cash to pay for things. Um, like the Ubers and stuff, you could not pay cash. You have to use your card. When I booked my stuff for the aquarium, I was like going to book it and then go there and pay with cash. You When I went to the aquarium to do that, I said, oh, maybe if I go there, I will be able to pay with cash. I could not pay with cash. I had to use a card. And that is all good and well, but one, I forgot to attach my card to my Uber, like I mentioned earlier, and I forgot to attach it to my trip.com. So the only cards that were there were my American card. And when I do travels like these, I don't like to use my American card because there are transaction fees for it, and I didn't budget for that, so I had to do a lot of those, and I took out cash because that's what you do. My mind, you travel and you take out cash just because most places here there are options for line pay or whatever, but if you go to some other smaller places, you cash is the preferable option, even though others are there. So my mind was still on that. And I remember cashing out all of my money from my card. And it's not like I could put it back on my card because my bank wasn't there. So I did have my Taiwanese card with me. Let me clarify the card that I used for transactions, but I took almost all of the money off of that card that I needed to use and decided in cash. I feel like the other foreigners I saw who were like Americans or Westerners, they didn't really have that much of a problem with it. Maybe I should have researched more, or I just should have known. I don't know, but I didn't really like that. Would I go back? Absolutely. I intend to go back whenever my bank. I think there's a God. I intend to go back, and I don't think I'll go back in the summer. I probably go back again in the winter or maybe like springtime. People were like, you should, why did you come in the winter? First of all, it was winter time, but there was still a lot of tourists there. So it didn't matter what weather, what season you came in. There's still people at places you want to go. Now, if you like nightlife and, maybe winter might not be the best time for you to go, though people do go out in the winter, but maybe it might not be as fun for you, but I don't partake in that. So to me, it was fine. I did what I wanted to do in the day. And because I came from Thailand and Taiwan where it's always hot, my body runs warm. So I wasn't really cold. I was chilly at times, but I wasn't cold. And I feel like I brought my jacket for no reason. It just took up space. One tip I would give you before going to Australia, again, I might make a separate video for that. One tip I would give though is buy a Metro card. Buy a Metro card. Apple Pay works to get on the train and the trams, but buy a Metro card. It's better because when you do Apple Pay, there's always a transaction fee for it if you're not using a Australian bank. Now, I would say you have to get different Metro cards for different states, I would say, because Sydney has one and Melbourne has one. Luckily for me, my hotel in Melbourne was like in the middle of like the business area, so I didn't need to get on the train as much as I did in Sydney or the bus. So I walked everywhere, and I'm okay with walking. Now, if you're not okay with walking, you may have to get the train, the Metro card to do that. There are one or two trains that are free, but they go in like it's like a straight line from here to there. So they're not trams, not train. They're not good for everywhere if you don't get a Metro card, but at least they cover some distance for you. I think when I went to the wine tasting, I was the only one who probably was walking everywhere based on the conversation I had with people. So yeah. Anyways, that's a little brief overview of my Australia trip. And again, I will try to make a more in-depth video of that one later. If you have any questions, like hit me in the comments and let me know. The second part of my life update is I moved from my previous city here in Taiwan to Taoyuan. So where I was called Yulin. It's like south. I guess upper south going, it's not as south as Kaohsiung, or Taichung, but just right there. And I'm here now in the north, and I'm in Taoyuan. I moved here. It's been a week now, and it's cool. My expenses has doubled, maybe actually, yeah, tripled even. And I'm trusting God to be able to do some of the things that I used to do because my budget is really going to be strong this time around. But the weather is a lot better. The south in Taiwan is very hot. And where I used to stay is now I'm in my apartment now. I don't have my air conditioner on. I could never do that where I was at. So there's some trade off. The trade off is more life and comfort, but I would take that. I would take that. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. If you live in Thailand and you happen to watch this video, hit me up. I am looking for people to connect with. Especially if you have a church, if you are into like physical activity, or even if you're into media, please hit me up and let's link. I would love to do that. I live close to the public library. Again, it's a really good like point for me who likes to walk. Again, I find it easy to walk places, but also it's still far enough that some areas I can walk. At least maybe I feel like I can walk now that it's summer. Maybe when it gets to be fall, I will have the incentive that I need, which is the cooler temperatures. So yeah, so those are the big updates of my life so far. Moving from my old city to this new one, getting acclimated, and then the trip that I took and what that was like for me was awesome, was amazing. Definitely recommend you going there. Um, and if you have any questions about anything I said, like I said, leave me a message, a comment, and don't forget to like this video. I would appreciate a few likes. Um, and again, follow me on my socials, Pinterest and Instagram and TikTok. I feel like I portray different people in each platforms. Not different people, but I guess my personality comes out a little differently. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for being here. I am grateful and I pray that um, God continues to bless you and soften your heart for His will. And yeah, so again, this is Yemah, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.